All right, I think we're live. It snuck up on me. I hope everyone can hear me. I think we have a few people on. Monique, Leo, Ooch. I'm not sure how to pronounce your name. Ook, maybe. So thanks for joining up. This is the webinar on Amazon affiliate reviews that convert, and hopefully we'll be able to get rolling here. As normal, I'm doing a sound check early on. So I'll just say, I'll write in the chat, can you hear me? And just in the chat, if you can hear me, say yes, or if you can't hear me, you'll probably tell me, hey, we can't hear you. You could tell that I'm talking, but you can't hear me, that sort of thing. But anyway, we'll get rolling here in a second. I'm Doug Cunnington from Niche Site Project, and this is generally about the perfect Amazon affiliate review template that I like to use on my sites. And I've been doing a lot more analysis lately on, I guess, big affiliate sites like the Wirecutter and the Sweet Home and some others. So if maybe you've seen some of the YouTube videos I've been putting out. If so, you kind of have an idea what I've been looking at. But I sort of cherry picked a few kind of cool examples that we'll look at today and sort of see how these, the template, I guess, is used on other sites and different things that I'm implementing right now. So, and Monique says, yes, you could hear me. Awesome. Thank you for letting me know. I'm going to put a sticky message. This isn't exciting, but we'll get rolling in a second. Okay, and hopefully the sticky message will be displayed. Cool, I could see it. Day's going, it's been a little rough day over here, a few technical issues. I was doing, some paperwork and stuff like that, and sort of lightly tax related. So those are always, it never goes how you think. How about you, Leo? How are things there? Oh, and Ook says you can't hear me. So try and refresh. If you can't hear or see me, try and refresh. And we'll get rolling here in a second, but just want to make sure all the technical difficulties are all right. Good, yeah, grinding through it, Leo. Me too. Pumped, welcome from Canada, the Alberta area. Awesome. And hopefully Ook is able to hear me, or Ooch. So let's see what else is going on today. Not too much, just it was a little slower today, which is good, but I filled it with frustrating work, so that's not as fun. But hey, that happens sometimes. So, and the big thing, here's a decent story. So normally I go on a walk with my dog, usually for like a couple miles in the morning. So we're out for like an hour and a half. But my dog's very sick. He's like 15. He's probably not going to make it much longer. He has cancer and stuff like that. So we're all upset. But the thing is, he can't walk very far now. And he had been able to walk that distance that I was mentioning up until like Sunday or so. So just in the last day or two, he's really taken a decline, which is sad, of course. The thing is, I didn't realize how important it is to be able to go and take him for a walk and be outside, that sort of stuff. And then I wasn't able to go to the gym today either because I'm here with my dog Brody. So anyway, I didn't do anything until just before dinner, just a little while ago, and went outside and walked for like an hour. And now I feel much better. So it turns out I really need to walk outside, or I get all freaked out, get stressed out for no reason. So, okay. Without further ado, I think we can get to it. We got a handful of folks on here, and Charmaine's on too. Welcome. So I'll go ahead and share my screen here. So I know, I believe a few folks have been on some of these sessions before. Oh, thanks, Pumped. Appreciate that. Yeah, 17-year-old cat. Wow. So the presentation that we have today, it is, I did use some previous slides from other presentations of similar topics, but there's new stuff in here. So hopefully it's interesting. Let me know what you think if you have been in other sessions. I know I recognize some names from other sessions that we've done. So I did know, I mean, some people are using the term authority sites, but basically this is for affiliate sites, really of any kind, but primarily for Amazon sites is kind of where I'm aiming. But as you will see, some of the examples are actually, sites that have affiliate programs with a lot of other companies. Maybe they work with Walmart or REI or some other company. So it doesn't really matter, but Amazon's kind of the easiest way to monetize something like that. People can hear me, so that's good. As I mentioned, I'm Doug Cunnington. There's Brody, who I was just mentioning, when we were going through the mountains. So I blog at Niche Site Project, and I'm putting up a lot more videos on YouTube. So I think that's actually under the Doug Cunnington name, but it's branded for Niche Site Project, so you should be able to recognize it if you go look for it. So I've done a little bit of internet marketing in the past. For about the past 4 years, I've been really obsessed with it. I've done niche sites. I've coached a lot of other people. I've done a lot of guest blogging in the internet marketing space. And my previous career was in project management and software. So just curious, I know, like I said, I recognize a few names, but just for the interest of, the other people in the chat, do you have a profitable niche site? And have you created a site before? Which I guess I could ask those in a different order, but I guess they're not exclusive. So just let me know in the chat and let the other people know. You could add whatever details you want about your site or your experience level or anything like that. As I mentioned, I have been, featured in different places, featured or quoted, and I was even mentioned on Social Triggers with Derek Halpern as a success story for like the course that I have. So that's kind of cool. I took Derek's course, which is how I ended up being mentioned there. So cool, Pumped. You have created a site and it is profitable. Very cool. As far as my timeline, I think this is probably the most helpful thing as far as my learning. I've definitely had ups and downs, and I've changed where I needed to when things didn't work out like I thought they would. I've adapted, and I think that's probably one of the most important things to do, probably in any business, but for niche sites where you really don't have anyone directing you in most cases or mentoring you. And that makes it kind of difficult. So this sort of path, I guess, taught me a lot. So Q&As at the end. I will sort of keep an eye on the chat, but I won't, I'll try not to get too distracted watching the chat. Every now and then I go through this few sets of slides here where, basically I talk about like why I like niche sites. Or authority sites, if you want to call it that. And I'll just, right off the bat, I just call everything a niche site. Number one, it's part of my branding, Niche Site Project. So I can't really like change it up too much. And I'm totally happy with that. The thing is, a niche site and an authority site, for me, they're almost the same thing. So an authority site is really just a niche site that, probably has more content on it. And maybe the quality of the content is a little bit better. But actually, let's look at an example in the internet marketing space. So Backlinko, Brian Dean's blog, and I guess Brand and Business, it only has about 40 posts on there, but it's literally like a 7-figure business. Like he sells courses, and I'm not even sure if he does any affiliate work or anything like that as far as the Backlinko brand is concerned. But he sells courses, he has an email list, and it's a 7-figure business. He only has like 40 or so blog posts. So if you think about it that way, it's very niche down. I mean, it's literally a niche site, but he's monetized it in probably one of the most profitable ways you can monetize a blog, and that's through, course or info products. So just an example of, he definitely has an authority site because it's, I guess to be redundant, authoritative, but it's not very big, and it's really just nomenclature and what people want to call these certain sites. So anyway, niche sites are great. We're primarily talking about affiliate sites, and that's what we're going to talk about today. So any, either way you call, any way you call it, authority sites, niche sites, whatever, they're easy and cheap to get started. So basically you could set up a blog in a few hours. While we're doing this, a person could go over to Bluehost or HostGator or whoever, set up a site, install WordPress, and have a theme running before I finish, talking in the next 49 minutes. So it's just really fast, and it'll probably only cost you, $60 for the first year or something like that. As far as learning, like I showed you the timeline for myself, I've had ups and downs, and it's really been a learning process overall. I didn't know anything about anything before I, found a podcast called Smart Passive Income, but I learned about SEO, I learned about WordPress, hosting, domain names, all sorts of like link building activities. And, each of those aspects could basically be what you specialize in. I mean, you could have a whole agency running off of, SEO clients, or it could be, domain name, brokering. So any of those things, you could build people's websites, you could make themes, whatever. So it's really a great way to learn what you want to work on. And then you could grow these niche sites, as I said, into much larger sites. That's what I tend to do. I usually don't have too many sites, going at the same time, or at least I can't focus on more than one or two at a time, or else it's just a little too much for me. But you can grow them into, full-time income. And you don't have to have that many to grow it into a full-time income. You do need to have a plan, and I recommend that you check out the niche site process. If you head over to Niche Site Project, find the Start Here area, and there's a huge long blog post that's, I don't know, it's like 14,000 words or something. It's super long, but that should give you a pretty basic blueprint on what you need to do at a high level. I don't go into tons of detail in that post, even though it's so long, but you can get a pretty good idea of the process start to finish. So let's get into the perfect Amazon review. And there's nothing on this slide, so hopefully there's something on the next slide. All right, so we're gonna have a look and zoom out, and we'll have this format here. So we're gonna look at each of the sections here, so don't worry if you can't read it. Basically, and I'll just read out the sections sort of to set the tone of and let you know what we're gonna look at. So this is a just basic template that you can follow. You can have other, people that are working for you follow this as well, but it gives them a pretty good idea. You may have to give them a few more instructions if you're hiring a writer straight up, but you have the title, you have an intro paragraph, you should have an image sort of on the upper half of the post or even higher. You'll see when we get to it. A comparison table, a max of 10 models or things listed in the table. I like to have 5 to 7 usually, by the way. The next two sections here are features. This could expand, by the way, so you could have like not just two, you could have like 15 features if it's some kind of complex or product that has a lot of features that you need to discuss. Then the next section would be, each model that you want to talk about, probably that's in the comparison table, but it could be more than that, and maybe you just put like 5 to 7 in the comparison table. Next is the customer or user impression. This is basically like the review section. You can't, copy reviews from places, but you can do research in Amazon or forums or wherever. And last, the conclusion. And I usually just sort of wrap everything up. So those are the main sections. And the thing is, this format is totally expandable, and you're able to review either lots of products or just one product. And I'll discuss it as we go, but that is the cool thing about it. I mean, even if you're doing, one item or 15 items, you could use the same basic format and just expand it where you need to expand it, or reduce it if you need to reduce it. And I see Charmaine mentioned you're working on your first site, you're making some money, which is cool. My first several sites didn't make any money, so you're already ahead of me. So good job. All right, first up is the title or the headline. So I'll just give you some basic ideas of good headlines that aren't too salesy and don't go like over the top with like a clickbait type headline. But here are just 4. So, and I just want to like get this out there, and then I'll show you some specific examples from real sites. So, and I'm just going to use the example of what's the best action camera or just action camera, sorry. I'm just going to use action camera for these next sets of them. So, and then I'll describe how it works. So this first one is, what's the best action camera for wakeboarders? And essentially, you're saying, what's the best product type for a specific type of user? Of course, if you pull away the qualifications, you're just left with like best action camera. So that is the format of something like best and then product type. Some other people may Google something like, what's the best action camera for me? So stuff like that, and it still includes that core, best action camera idea. Another is just, what action camera should I buy? Or action camera reviews for, and then fill in the year. So you have a lot of flexibility on what you can put there, but there's no better way than to actually see some examples. So there we go. So this on the left side here is from the Wirecutter. And this is from Outdoor Gearlab. So the Wirecutter, you can see they stick pretty tight to the best and then product name. So that falls into these first few. You'll notice they list a qualification in earbuds, so best earbuds under $100. So that's a good thing to do also. I like that sort of thing. You can just try different dollar amounts, see what comes up. They have this other, so best Wi-Fi mesh networking kits for most people. And they use the most people again here for best Wi-Fi router. So it's a qualification, and they're being general there, of course, by saying most people. Now, when we go to Outdoor Gearlab, you'll see they're using the best and then product type, and then they use a year. So they're pretty often using a year. The best hiking boots for women, and then they tossed in a review. So they're blending a couple of the sort of templates and formats that I noted. And they're doing it again, best down jacket for women review. So, you can sort of get away with blending things, and, I don't Personally, I don't like the way that sounds. It doesn't roll off the tongue. These make more sense over the Wirecutter side. But of course, both of them are keyword rich. It's what people search for. And, I think obviously these sites are super successful. So either one is fine. The next section is the intro paragraph. So, in this case, I really like to qualify the reader early on. So I usually say something like, looking for the best action camera for wakeboarders, then you're in the right place. And that's literally what I would write. It lets the person know right away that that's what, they're looking for. You can usually, guess well, because most of the time, at least for my sites, most of the time, the visitor is coming through Google, right? So you kind of have an idea what they're searching for, and it qualifies them immediately. That sort of helps your, overall conversion rate. It helps people understand that they're going to find what they're looking for, so they're going to want to continue to scroll down. Now, you should definitely put that in your own words, but something with that general idea is great to use. If you can put some other related information, that's helpful also. Now, one thing a lot of people miss, and I've noticed this in a few sites over the last couple weeks, you should add a call to action, a CTA. I'll refer to it as a call to action with the affiliate link in the first, 3 or 4 sentences. I sometimes put it in the first or second sentence, and that allows people that are in a hurry to get over to Amazon fast. Some people really don't want to read the long review, and they just want to have a quick way to find a product that has been vetted. I mean, one of the things with Amazon is you could find, dozens or hundreds of different choices for the product that or a product that does essentially the same thing. So it's a little overwhelming, and sometimes people just want a vetted list, and they will take your first recommendation without hesitation. Now, here is the opening paragraph, as it says here for the Wirecutter, and you can see they, talk about the latest action cameras are qualifying the information and what's coming up, and then they give you an affiliate link right there. So that's good. That's, pretty typical. They do that on almost every single article at the Wirecutter. And, it seems like some of the articles over there, some of the reviews, they will have the affiliate link in the first, 10 words. It's like on the second line. Not all of them, but it comes up pretty quick. So next, we're going to head over to the image. So the image has 2 main benefits. It breaks up the text, and it encourages the readers to scroll down a little faster. Now, a lot of times I'll use like a half size image, a half width image. So there is some text there. And once people start scrolling down, they usually, keep scrolling down. It kind of builds the momentum, which is good. The second benefit with an image is it shows the person, what the product looks like, and hopefully that lines up with what they expect to see. Then they'll know they're in the right place, they're reading the right kind of review. So, like I mentioned, I usually use like a half width image, but you could use a full width if you have one, or if you want to. Totally depends on what you want on your site. Feel free to experiment. So you can see here that the Wirecutter uses a half width image, or a little bit smaller maybe. They have this full call out here. I usually don't do that, and I usually don't use a button typically. I'll usually just have like a caption and then like an affiliate link like that. Now I usually don't make, not always, but I usually don't make this image an affiliate link. For me, these text links convert really well. Now, I will say that's not going to hold up for every single niche or every single site. So I would definitely not be surprised if a lot of people have great luck with the images. For me, I usually just stick with the text links. They work really well. And, a lot of times I'll even put, GoPro Hero 5 Black, check it out on Amazon. So, similar to how they say $3.95 from Amazon. If someone clicks on this, I want them to know exactly where they're going. I'm not trying to mislead them to get them to click over to Amazon without knowing that they're going to Amazon. So I may not have as many clicks over to Amazon, but my conversion rate's really high because it's literally only the people that want to go over to Amazon clicking it. So half width image, I kind of like it. If you have like a fancy call out section like this, that probably, seems good. Next is the comparison table. So tables are awesome. It's one of the best ways to illustrate and summarize data in a small area. Now, if you're reviewing more than one product, then it's really a no-brainer to have a comparison table. It's almost essential to have a comparison table. It's almost certain that it's going to improve your clicks to Amazon too, and that'll help your earnings overall. So I think Outdoor Gear Lab excels at comparison tables, and I can't really think of a better example. So when you take a look at all the information that they have in here and the way they display it, it's really like thorough. And I cut off part of the bottom. I couldn't fit it all in one screen, but this is sort of the critical stuff. You have the image, of course. You have a link to the next or the specific review for the model. You have awards, so they sort of denote the editor's choice, the top pick, and then the best buy, and then the price. So this is the only spot where there are affiliate links on this view. So that's kind of cool. They're allowing you to click around, spend more time on their site. There are only 5 listed here, right? So part of this is around like decision fatigue. So if you put too many choices, people may not even want to look anymore. 5 seems to be a good number to put in a table, so it's not overwhelming. And they have pros, cons, and the bottom line. So they really summarize like the whole article in this table, in this section right here. So for me, my tables are way more simple than this. It usually has sort of a subset of this info. Sometimes I'll have like technical specs in here. So I may not have the pros and cons in the bottom line, but I would have, maybe like the weight or, the sole type or something like that if we're talking about hiking boots. But anyway, conversion tables are awesome, or comparison tables are awesome. And I will mention that if you just have like one product to review, that's okay. You can still have a table because it's helpful to display like technical specs in a table. So I think I give an example of that a little bit further down, but just remember that, even if you're doing a single product, you could still display very close to the same information, or you could display the technical specs for the item. Next is the feature section. So this is one of the totally expandable sections. So I just mentioned like 2 features because that's sort of the minimum that you want to have, but you can really have as many as the product calls for. So there's no right number of features. If someone is interested in buying the product, then they're interested in the features. So trust me on that. And, think of yourself if you're, say, looking for a laptop or something expensive that has a lot of different things to consider, you're going to read all about the different features and go deep and geek out on all the details. People will do the same thing, even if it's, happens to be something you're not too into. For example, the hiking boots, right? If you're not into hiking, you're probably not going to care that much. But if you are a hiker, then there's a lot of stuff that you're going to care about. The soles, if it's waterproof, what kind of laces does it come with? I guess the comfort, the insoles, the list goes on and on. That's just the stuff off the top of my head. I don't even know what they cover in this specific review. The point is people care about features, and it may seem like a stretch, but you can have, explanations and descriptions for each of the different types of features. And if it's something that a person may care about, it's fair game to put it in there. So for the hiking boots example, I will mention that, this is on Outdoor Gearlab, and they have this comfort section of the boot. And there are 3 more paragraphs aside from this one, so 4 total, talking about all the details of the comfort of the hiking boot. So you could, imagine that once that expands out, they could talk about all sorts of different features and write 500 words on each of the features. And that's how people end up with reviews that are, 10,000 words long. So next we're on to features and specs for each model. And basically here, if you're reviewing more than one product in a single article, then you should break out each of the models and describe it in detail. Now, one thing that I've noticed is a lot of people will, put each model in its own section, but they won't put much more than, a few bullet points in what's covered in the sort of overview description in Amazon. But it's really a great place to, add more images for each of the models. You can actually put a lot of images if you have them available. You can explain the features, that we talked about before. You could talk about benefits that come from those features. And by the way, like if you have a dozen features that you talk about in the feature section, you can mention each of those for each model. So again, you can see how reviews can get very long. And as I mentioned, you can add a table to mention the technical specs and display the technical specs for each model. So like that's sort of what I was talking about before. If you're just doing like a single product review on a single post, then maybe the table is technical specs. So the Wirecutter usually has like 2 or 3 models for each of its reviews. So for the action camera, you can see they did a top pick, R pick, and then they have a runner up. They do mention it's better video quality, but it's a little harder to use when you actually look at the details. And then they have the best buy, the budget pick, the economic model. So that's totally up to you. Some people put 10 different models that they look at and just make it really thorough. And pumped, I see your questions over there, and I'll definitely get to them once the presentation's over. And thank you for marking them as questions, by the way. And feel free to keep adding them. I'll just come back to them in a bit. So next is the customer or user impressions section. So the customer and user reviews are basically one of the reasons why Amazon took off, per my understanding. People wanted to hear about what a product was really like to own and to use it. So people want authentic and honest reviews, which it used to be hard to find before the internet. I mean, I think you just had to find someone that actually owned it. You couldn't really trust like a salesman at a store. They would tell you anything. But, if you mention what real owners think about the products, then your readers will be pleased. And most of the time you won't necessarily have access to the product. Not everyone can buy the products like the Wirecutter and Outdoor Gearlab from our examples, but you can head over to Amazon. You can read the reviews there. You can't copy them, by the way. It's against the terms of service. And Amazon owns the copyrights for the reviews and basically most of all the content on Amazon. So you can't use it directly. But you can research on Amazon, and you can research on other websites, forums. You can, go to the manufacturer's website, see if there are reviews there, and you can summarize that content and publish it on your site. So this is sort of where that goes. Now, one thing I really like to do is to add a call to action that's check out reviews by real owners over on Amazon. And then you could link directly to the Amazon reviews page. And like I mentioned, people really like to see reviews, so it's a great thing to have. And next is the conclusion area. So, of course, you summarize what's going on in the review, which you talk about in the review. Personally, I like to have a call to action, another CTA at the beginning of the conclusion, similar to the one at the beginning. A lot of people skim content online. It's pretty likely that people are going to read the conclusion, though. A lot of people will read the beginning. They'll look at the pictures, maybe some captions. If you have a call-out section, sometimes they'll stop and look there, and they'll read the conclusion if they get to it. So again, having the CTA in there is a great way to get people to take a look at Amazon. You can make the section longer, though. I usually have a couple paragraphs at least. It's totally up to you, though. So I'll normally summarize like each section of the review, sort of like total, the whole thing. I'll use bullet points a lot of times, again, for people that skim the article. You can like scroll down, see the call to action, and have some bullet points. It gives you a really good idea of the content of the article. So I think people can consume content that way. That's pretty much what I do. I think I have an example here from the Wirecutter. So they do it a little bit different in this particular review. So they talk about what's coming up in new camera models, like on the horizon. They're just speculating. They don't know in most cases. And then they have their cool call to action here. And it sort of fits in. They have a little box around it, but it blends in with the site well. The site looks really good, of course. And I think we have another blank slide, so that's always fun. And a couple of examples, and I meant to pull these up earlier, but I see that when I rebooted my machine, I didn't do that. So I don't see them here, but I was going to look at a bad one and a good one. But I think I should be able to just click it. So I try not to out anyone's sites, by the way, but I've done these teardowns on public sites already. So that's why we're going to take a look at these. And we'll go ahead and we're going to take a look at Car Seat Answers as the bad example, and the Wirecutter as the good example. So, oh, and look at that. I linked to the right places. So I guess I knew what I was going to do. Good job thinking ahead. All right, I'm going to widen this a little bit here. And okay, so I think that's displaying well still. So there's a couple things that you'll recognize in this review that are in the perfect Amazon review, but there's a lot of stuff that they don't have. So first off, their headline, that's pretty decent. So safest convertible car seats of 2017. So they got the year in there. That's cool. They have best and safest. So they're going for some different keywords there. So that's good overall. They have an image, so people know that a convertible car seat looks like this. Hopefully, if they're looking for that kind of item, they have an idea. So first off, they do not have any like affiliate links for a while. I will say their intro isn't terrible, so I won't read it out loud, but their intro seems fine as far as the copy. But as we scroll down, they don't have an affiliate link yet. I'm more than halfway down the page, and I am yet to see a way to get over to Amazon. And there is our first one. So I'm almost all the way down the page, and this is the first time they've given me a chance to click to Amazon. The image is an affiliate link also. And then they have several other affiliate links here. And I mean, this may be, you know what, I don't know if they've tested this, but my hunch would be that there's a good number of people that don't ever read past the first couple sentences. So if you can just provide a link for them to get over to Amazon, if they just put that sentence, hey, my top pick is this one, and they put it right here, that's probably going to increase their click-through rate by like a dramatic amount, like double it or triple it or something like that. Now, I don't know whose site this is. There's no way for me to verify that or anything, but that's my guess. Just knowing how people consume stuff on the web. I mean, it's unlikely someone's going to scroll down all the way. So one thing I do like is the format of their sections. So like they have this Q&A format, which I really like. That's a thing that, you know, it's a great way to pick up long tail keywords, and it's a great, I mean, people just ask questions. So this is a good thing to have. And as I'm scrolling down, there's no table, right? So they're talking about a lot of different items. Their comparison chart is linked to it. So it's on another page, but there's no comparison table here. They do have a couple images. Sorry, I'm scrolling like crazy, but I'm just trying to get a lay of the land. They don't have like each of the models broken out, and it may be nice to have each of the models broken out into its own section with its own subheading for SEO purposes, on-page optimization. So I'll leave it at that. I mean, there's a lot of little things, and when you look at this, it looks generally fine, which, you know, I like the white space over here. I like the single column and lack of distractions. It's just clean. I appreciate that. But as far as a conversion optimized review post, it's lacking in a lot of areas. Now, I will have a look at their table here really quick, and you can see they're doing technical specs here. They have listed the brand and the model. So this is cool. It may be nice to see a rating. You know, they actually didn't even take the time to put a rating. The other thing is, you know, obviously this is way more than 5. So, you know, I think what they've done here probably is this is filled with affiliate links here. So they've probably no indexed this site and no followed, or sorry, this page. Because if you have a ton like this, if you have a whole lot of affiliate links, that particular page may not rank well. Google doesn't necessarily like to see sites that are full of affiliate links. You kind of have to go over the top, but you know, a table with basically not much other content, you know, a few hundred words maybe. This is like a lot more affiliate links than I would, you know, like to see for this amount of words, but as long as they know indexed it would be fine. So anyway, if you're just looking at this review right here on their homepage as a standalone, it's lacking in a lot of areas. Now, so this is a bad example. Now let's look at the good example, best action camera. So the Wirecutter, now owned by the New York Times, as it states right here. You can see, you know, the image at the top to let people know like where they're at and the kind of products they're going to be reviewing. They have the call to action at the beginning. They sort of qualify, as I mentioned. This is the exact screenshot from before, so I won't go too in depth. This is kind of a long review, but you see the half width image, the call to action. They talk about the specific model in this case for the best, the runner-up, and the budget pick, the ones that I pointed out before. You'll notice a table of contents, which is not in my template, but if you have a long review, it can be a nice thing to have. I don't put them in as a rule though. Next, you can see how they sort of mention how they tested, how they picked, some of the, I guess, pros and cons for this particular model, the top pick. They don't break out the feature section like I did, but if you actually go through this review, you'll see that you could sort of like imagine that there are sections in here that are titled something different, but really they discuss the features. So how we picked is something where they may go into some of the features. So they talk about certain functionality that the cameras have and how they tested. They don't necessarily go into features, but here they would talk about benefits of various models. So it kind of goes hand in hand, but it's not exactly the same. Now they do talk about the features for each of the models, and that's sort of where the Sony model with the better video quality, but it's harder to use, comes into play. So they talk about features there. As I mentioned, if you have more images to use, then use them. Using more is always a good thing. And I just had sort of a little deja vu here. I feel like, one second, Santa Fe. Hold on. Okay, so this is weird. I thought I saw it say Santa Fe a couple times, but I didn't pay much attention. And I saw this picture here, and I spent a week. My wife and I went down to Santa Fe a couple years ago, and we were on a long road trip through some of our slow travel, and we stayed in Santa Fe. And like the neighborhood looked like this. So when I was looking at, I saw this, and I was like, was that a neighborhood I was in? Santa Fe is not huge, so I may have gone on a run through the neighborhood or something. So small world, kind of funny. Okay, huge digression there, and let's see. Okay, so you can see they have a lot of images. They provide samples. So if you have the ability to like show the product in action, do it. They are actually recording because they're GoPros and action cameras. So they're recording and showing you the sample video. But if you had, say, I always try and find examples. If you had like a microphone that you use for podcasting, you could, test out the different microphones and show people, or I guess illustrates how the sounds are different. So you could, have a YouTube video showing you use the microphones. Captions, these block quote sections are kind of cool. I sort of like these call outs. It looks like a magazine to me. I do that on my site sometimes as well. And as we go through, again, this is really long, so I'm not going to belabor this, but you can see, they're going into great detail for each of the cameras, and eventually they show the conclusion. So, if you go to basically any of the reviews on the Wirecutter, Outdoor Gear Lab, Baby Gear Lab, these big sites, you're going to see like the best of the best, and you'll like notice things. You do have to go. I mean, I've done all the work for you, so I'm just summarizing it, but if you go watch some of my videos on YouTube, there's something like 15 or 12 or 15 of these videos, and it's, at least a couple hours worth of content. But if you go through these and you see me talk through them, you'll see these patterns. You can really only notice the patterns if you spend time looking at these. And it's kind of interesting, but, most people don't have time to do it. So, okay. So we took a look at the good and the bad, and I think we're at the Q&A. So I will get these questions, and I will. Here we go. All right. Cool. So I see some questions here. First, Pumped asked, these questions are from earlier, but I'll read them out loud and then we'll talk about them a little bit. So, does the color of the links matter? What color converts best? So, if you're using text links, the color, actually for both cases, buttons or text, the color doesn't necessarily matter, right? It should stand out. So if it's a text link, you want your anchor text to be a different color. You don't want it to look like, all the other links on your, all the other text on your site. For buttons, it depends on what you want on your website. Some people like to have a button that, blends in. It's the same color scheme. Some people like to have something that really stands out and that is, it almost sticks out like a sore thumb, but it's totally up to you. Now, I will mention that if you're thinking about doing A/B testing and you're like, hey, my conversion rate's kind of bad, what if I change my blue buttons to red? You're probably going to be disappointed. Like that sort of A/B testing usually doesn't pan out. If you read case studies or examples of people that say, hey, I changed the button color or I changed my link color and my conversions went up by 45%, it's usually an outlier. Like that sort of stuff, it just doesn't happen that often. Normally it has to do with your copy, the kind of visitors that are on your site. So usually there's no specific thing or specific color that's going to be best. Next, so hopefully that helps Pumped. Pumped's next question is not linking out to Amazon through a picture just a personal preference, or have I found there to be a downside? It's generally a personal preference. However, I will mention that if you place an affiliate link on an image, then that's an affiliate link on your page. And as I mentioned before, you don't want to have too many affiliate links on your page. So that said, you have to figure out or decide, do you want to have those image links or not? Most of the time, and I haven't done tests on every one of my sites and every one of my URLs and posts with an affiliate link, but generally, especially when I talk to my peers that have heat maps on their site and they can see where people click, most of the clicks are through text links. There's not nearly as many through the image links. Now, when you think about the fact that a lot of people are surfing and viewing your site on their phone, this is the phone, that's my phone, through a phone, then you can imagine that it's a lot less likely for a person to click on the image, because I don't click images. I usually click text when I'm reading on my phone. Think about what you do. And well, I could be weird, right? I'm probably weird, but it may be that, that people just don't click on the images. So typically I don't put links on the images most of the time. Sometimes I do, but I have the other text links where I have the clear call to action to go to Amazon. Okay. So next, and I'll just wrap it up a little bit, Pumped. So basically it's a personal preference, but see what works for you, see what you like. Okay, so Leo asks, can I elaborate by what I mean by no index or no follow this page? And Leo mentions for the no index page, could we check by looking at the robots text or something? Yeah. So basically, and this is referring back to the car seat site where they had their comparison table. It was a huge comparison table, and it had 40 affiliate links in there. So yeah, you're right. I think you may be able to check the source of the page to see if there's no index in there. It may be in the robots file. I'm not 100% sure. On the WordPress side, I know like if you know, a lot of themes will have like a no index checkbox, or it'll be in the SEO theme, or sorry, SEO plugin. So it could be in the theme or the plugin, and a person could like no index a post or page really easily. And actually, I know the origin of why they did that. So back in the day, Spencer Hawes in 2013, he did his original niche site project, of which I took the name. Thanks, Spencer. And basically, like he created a site, and he had this was back when he used to build sites with a affiliate content on the homepage. So on the homepage, you had like this long article. And then it had this big table on there, and he filled it with a ton of affiliate links, and the images were affiliate links in the table. And his site was doing well, and then it dropped in the rankings. So he thought, hey, maybe there's too many affiliate links. Why don't I move the table off, or at least reduce the size of the table on the main page, and then we'll put this other table with just the table there, and we'll no index it and no follow it, so it won't be impacted from any kind of Google algorithm issues with that many affiliate links. So that is where like that sort of I guess strategy came to be. I don't think it's a good one, right? You don't see like these big sites like Outdoor Gearlab, the Wirecutter. They're not doing it. There's probably a reason why. So hopefully that answers your question, Leo. You know, if I see something like that, I like automatically assume they put a table on, or sorry, if they have a table that big, I usually assume that they've no indexed it. And if not, like it doesn't matter, because I don't want to put a table that big on there. It's counterintuitive, right? There's a reason why Outdoor Gear Lab only has like 5 that you could view on their tables. Okay. Pumped asks, how do you compete with these Goliaths? I don't know. You just work at it. And if you haven't heard of the keyword golden ratio, look that up. That's one of the ways I do. And a lot of other people do also. I mean, they like the Wirecutter has a certain approach, and there's a lot of keywords and a lot of products to go around. So it's a big market. And Pumped, referring back to the question from before about the affiliate links with the text or the buttons. So remain consistent in colors. Yeah, I think that's probably a good thing to follow. I mean, I just use the regular color of the text links on my site, which I don't even remember what they are. Blue or red, something different than black. It's black and black text on a white background. It's kind of my style. So, okay. Charmaine asks, what's your average click-through rate? Let's see. I don't know of the average. I think I checked in the last quarter or so, and I think for one of my sites that gets, I don't know, like 2,000 to 3,000 visitors a day, the average click-through rate was something like 30 or 35% over to Amazon, and the overall the conversion rate as reported by Amazon is like 11 to 13%. So, if you do the math, the overall conversion rate for visitor is, what is that, like 2.5% or something? It's tough to do math on the spot, but something like that. So hopefully that helps Charmaine give you an idea. The second part of the question, do the table links convert better than the text links? I honestly don't know. I don't track to that level. So I can't answer with any degree of certainty. However, I'll guess since you asked. I think that the text links probably have like a greater sheer number of people that click over, just because I think I have more of those. So, I'm not, if you're thinking of the conversion rate versus the number of links and the sheer number, I don't know if it matters like which one converts better, but I just have the opportunity to have more links throughout than have all the links concentrated in one table. So I think it works out well to have a blend of the two. Okay, and pumped. Oh, you're in the course. Cool. Thanks for your support. I didn't know your name. So okay, cool. So Pump says, I have 140 posts that you added to your site since April 30th. Wow, that's awesome. You have categories with the intros. Google has only indexed the categories. How do you get them to index everything else other than sitemap or go fetch? Okay, and just as a reference point, so the fetch is in the Google Search Console, and you're able to fetch a URL and pull it in. So Pump, since you're in the course, feel free to send me a support email, and I can dig into this a little bit more. But we could talk through it right now. Do you have those 140 posts interlinked a lot? So do you have other posts, and how old's your site? Also, has your site been around a while, or is it just a recent a recent site? Yeah, pumped. I'm envious too. By the way, I've been looking at doing another. Okay, cool. So basically, the interlinking will help, because like once a few of the posts are indexed, of course, that's how the web works. All the interlinking tells Google where to follow it. You said Google has only indexed the categories. So, that's once you have the category with the description, and then you have like all the posts underneath. Now, personally, right? Again, you could email me so we could talk through it for your specific example, Pumped. But me personally, I no index the category pages, just because I don't want Google traffic coming through to the category pages. I want individual people looking for the specific post topic to go to the page. So if I end up ranking for a long tail keyword, and the post or the URL that ranks on my site is my category page, then I'm messed up, because there's way more information on there. There's other posts and other things on there, other topics. So you kind of want to index those category pages. And I think that's actually in the like unit 4 or maybe unit 3, where we're setting up the plugins and stuff. But anyway, if you interlink, so I recommend you index the category pages, and then interlink, the let's see. Okay, so you just paid $300 for the intros. What should you do with the contents? Can you? Let's see. I am not sure, because I don't know what's in there. If you have the opportunity to place the intros within one of the posts that you have, like the 140 posts, I would just put them in there. It could help improve word count and stuff. But as I mentioned, like having the category pages ranked is not what you want. So, oh, the other thing, right? You can know, okay, you know what? You could still use it. You could still use those intros. Okay. Index the category pages. Okay. People can still go to the category pages through your site, and it makes the site look like nice and complete. If people are into, whatever kind of product you have on your site, people can click on the category page and see where they can go. And then see the information, they see the other posts, just how you intended it. But as I mentioned, you don't want Google searchers to show up on your site on the category page. So keep the intros, use the Yoast SEO plugin, and index your category and archive pages, like the date archive, the author archive, tag archive, those taxonomies or whatever, index those, and then you'll be good to go. You can still use the intros and go and interlink those 140 throughout each other and to older posts, and vice versa. The old posts should link out to the new ones. As a rule of thumb, I would say, each of the posts or articles should have an outbound link to 2 to 5 other posts. You don't have to do the exact same number. In fact, randomizing stuff is a good idea. So 2 to 5, and make sure, each post has links coming in and each post has links going out. It'll take a while, but just do 1 or 2 posts a day, and then you'll be through it in no time, a couple months. or you could get someone to help you. So, okay, cool, pumped. It sounds like we talked through it, we figured out a solution, so that's good. Cool. Okay, what other questions do we have? What other questions? I think we worked through all of them. That's cool. Really good. Is everyone in the Niche Framework Facebook group? Is everybody over there these days? Sure, pumped. Appreciate it. Yeah, so the Facebook group, I'm just trying to get it rolling. One of my friends, Lewis Ogden, had this Facebook group going for a while, but he decided he didn't want it anymore, and I was kind of more active over there than he was. He asked me if I wanted to take it over, which I did. So I've been running it for a little while. It looks like we've actually grown by 500 members since I took it over, which is cool. But I will mention that, it's here. So if you're not in there, you can join it. I haven't been doing many live streams, just a couple here and there, but I will encourage people to, join up, ask questions, do stuff in there. And it's, pretty much spam free. I actually have a couple people helping me do the administration over there. So I kick people out if they do anything that I don't like. It's kind of fun having my own little spot. Okay, it looks like the questions have slowed down. And it's about 8:08 here where I'm at. So it's getting close to bedtime here. Cool. All right, well, that's all the questions. So we'll finish it up and we'll catch you next time. If you have any ideas for an upcoming webinar topic, let me know. I'm always looking for more topics. Leo gave me a great one last week. I'll probably put it on the docket. I have to do some research and homework for that one, Leo. But yeah, thanks, Leo, for attending. I appreciate it. And pumped, and the other folks that joined us, Monique, Charmaine, Mike, appreciate it. Ooch, hopefully you were able to hear me at some point. There will be a replay, so if you joined late or if you want to watch it again, you can. So cool. See you, everyone, and we'll catch up next time. Thanks.